Welcome back to the All-Tech Dream, and unfortunately, we have some sad information to give regarding this whole project. So, this is of course the DC-PC server. It runs Windows XP, it has dial-up, it has a video capture device inside of it. It is, for all intents and purposes, functional as can be, running any machines type of rig, but with more specs in it than I thought. But that's not really the point. And over here, alongside the router, we have, of course, the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, running this thing is not the best thing, and for all intents and purposes, this whole project has pretty much failed. We'll be seeing why in a couple moments. I'm going to power on the machines here, including turning on the monitor. I'm actually better off just waiting. Okay, now that we are ready to go here, let's just see if we can get things started. I think... Okay, we have a slightly better angle now for everything. So, everything is hooked up basically as well as it can get. We have WM9 cap as a replacement solution over the original software that I was using, which was, of course, the AM cap that required registration and everything. Windows Media 9 capture. It only works with Windows XP, of course, but it does work by comparison to the original that we were working with. So if I change the crossbar over to composite right quick. So of course we have the Sega Dreamcast controller right there. There's the legendary beep and of course the animation. Why am I not getting audio? What the hell? I do have audio. I don't know why it's just not going through. Composite. It doesn't matter. So, here we have Planet Web 3.0. You can probably hear the struggles of the drive over there. And here we are, Planet Web. Press start to begin. So, what else has to happen before we can get this going? Well, it's not as seamless as you might think. So, we're going to load VMware. It's about the closest thing I can work with. It has an installation of Ubuntu. There was a lot of experimentation with this computer in particular in order to get this solution to work. So of course it has a Lucent Win modem, which is something by either Agare or Connexent. I can't figure it out to be absolutely sure. I can't do it to save my life. And then also had this second modem right here, which is just a kind of dodgy piece of crap, but it was also by Connexent. This one is a CX11256, but it's only a data fax one. There is no voice connectivity like what is here, which is actually that it has two pins. One is for the phone, one is for the line. But strangely, my system is connected into the line input, so that's the only way this thing can feasibly work. Windows XP doesn't like trying to do any of this stuff, and of course, because these are Win modems, there are no drivers to work with Ubuntu. And what drivers do exist, that being for the CX11256, that's the only ones I was actually able to find drivers for, didn't properly work because they're all old drivers for like Ubuntu 8, and we're on Ubuntu 18,
Or, well, this is 17.10 anyway. So, we're several versions beyond. I can't build from source, so we're just stuck having to do this, which is a layer on top of a layer just to get a serial connection. So let's get started, shall we? So to help with some specifics, we need to mention that I am using 1 gigabyte of memory. We have 1 processor. This is a dual-core Athlon, after all. We're only using 20 gigs. You can use less. It doesn't matter to me. We can use a CD drive. I don't care because I'm not using it. We can have floppy drive. That doesn't really need to exist either. Using a bridged connection, which is able to give me a more direct presence of the network solution, which is the closest thing I could get to. Yes, there's USB controller, doesn't matter. Sound card, doesn't matter. This is what matters. The serial port. We are using a physical serial port because it's connected to comms. If we go outside of this area, go over to our phone and modem options, and hit the modems, you can see I do have both of them. The 11256 soft modem actually stopped working. Its drivers just shut off on Windows, so I ended up just pulling it because it was just straight up useless to me. So the Lucent Win modem, the original one that we had in the first video, is attached to COM3. So that's about the best demonstration of this situation as we can get. What is going on inside of Ubuntu? Well, I have a couple of things going. First off, we have this file I've created called Life. This is all made from various logs and blogs and things about how to get a PC-DC server on Linux, or to get it on a Raspberry Pi, or to get it on Windows, or to get it on Windows using Linux in a VM, as we're doing right here. So, this is what we're looking at. We have a couple of commands. We're working with mgetty. We are working with, what else is there? Working with PPP, which is supposed to be the, kind of based on PPP-oe, which was how you were able to get dial-up and stuff like that before. There's also things like Minicom. I can't get that one to work for my life. Plus, that one requires like manually inputting commands. It's just a nightmare to me. This was about the closest thing I could get to even working, because I got it to load Google, like, once. Now, I want to take real special note of the time. The time, right now, if I unhinge the thing, zoom over, that was actually wrong. It is 4:56. It is nearly 5 o'clock. So, now it's 4:57. So, we're going to quickly demonstrate what I have to do to get this thing going, and then we'll just do it, and we'll watch inside of the capture card. You can see it's doing its little animation thing now. It's the screensaver for that particular thing. We're going to quickly load up a couple of LX terminals. New window, new window, new window. Perfect for squares. So let's copy these. Once again, we have our tried and true Planet Web. We're going to get going here. It is 4:58. I'm also going to tilt this a little bit. Better if I just zoom it. Yeah, that's about as good as it'll get. We'll edge it over, because I want that clock to be visible. So, there's our clock, about as good as we'll get. So, at 5 o'clock, we will start all of the work that we have to do to get this thing to go. While I have the chance, I need to go to Google. Alright. And we have it going in 3, 2, 1, go. That's the wrong command. Duh. Okay, So you can now watch the commands going here. It did fail for a second because it had wrong permissions. So now I will tell the modem to start working in tandem. 3 seconds pass. We send this command. That's gotten a send of that. Also use tail to actually watch some of what's going on. We should see some output from PPP soon enough as well. Send ATA. And it is logging into the unit. I'll leave the clock here, just so we have a good estimate for how long it's going to take for all this to connect. No directory, logging in. Yeah, it just takes a long time, and it's upsetting. One thing worth mentioning is that there is really no activity on these two windows. Everything pretty much is done for that stuff. It's all the Dreamcast now. It's all this thing. Planet Web. Has been 2 minutes already. You see a sudden spike in progress. With that angle, we can get a good example for the timetable here, as well as the progress. And I am touching this because if I'm not keeping activity going here, it will go into a screensaver and it will halt any progress. And this is why I have the clock up, because it takes this long. I'm not petty enough to try and fucking skip time around just to make it seem like, oh, this is blah, 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 blah. No. This is actually in real time. Horrendous. Unable to load. Nonsense. I was able to finish a full cup of coffee in the time it's taken for this thing to try and load. Just for a little bit of extra clarification, I'm keeping it in focus, that way you guys can see I'm not doing anything. Well, trying to. Over here, is, of course, the routing solution. It is trying to do something over there, but you can see there's just this wiring solution. It's a freaking nightmare, but this is how it is. So this light yellow cable is actually somewhat connected to my actual solution for my phone line. It doesn't do much. How is this better? The other one, which is actually into the line, or is it the phone? No, it's totally the phone, is going directly to the Dreamcast. It's not a very elegant solution, but it's pretty much as close as you could get. Hey, do you guys remember fidget spinners? Fuck. Yeah. Yo, 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 it's a fidget spinner on a Dreamcast. It's on a Dreamcast. And it still isn't fucking done. Oh, fucking... What just happened? Oh. It went into sleep mode. Why have I not turned that off? It didn't even enter it. Did that just ruin the project? Oh god, what just happened? Control. Oh, my system. Okay. It is 5:11. Why aren't you logging in? Okay. 5:11. We are now finally, after all of that time, logged in to google.com, where it is struggling to even load the picture. Yeah, my recording is up to 30 minutes now. It is 5:15. We started this whole connection process 15 minutes ago, and it's still trying to load just the basic Google image. Now, to its credit, it's not really that fair to say that this is an awful scenario. It could be this is just unreasonable for the system. Why don't we try a different thing? Why don't we just eliminate this whole, oh, I'm gonna browse the web with my fucking Sega Dreamcast 2018 thing. Why don't we simplify and go with a game? Something that doesn't load a whole HTML spreadsheet and extra data. Something that is just purely unadulterated gameplay style. I'll say this. I'm no good at Chu-Chu Rocket. But if we can get connected, I will gladly try and play this game. Now, over on the Lubuntu system, I think I'm going to have to change a few settings before we can lock in that idea. So TTYSO is set up to be just fine. So it's in our options. Okay, so this is the DNS server that it's currently set to. We need to instead change that to the chu-chu, basically the universal DreamPie DNS, which is on here 4610191.123. Fair enough. It's also worth changing the internet connection on the Dreamcast. One, two, three. I don't know why I'm not getting any audio, but whatever. Battle Online. Let's see if we can get something going here. I'm not going to be able to play well because I am going to have input lag out the ass, but one player. Try once. Probably felt if I had started this earlier. Yeah, I screwed up. My assumption for why it failed this time around might actually have plenty to do with my dial tone issue, which I will come across later. The worst part is this isn't like a traditional modem scenario, and it failed already. And I really don't have any other games I can test right now. I mean, there's one other thing I can try, but it wouldn't be great. If we hashtag out the default async map, it's like, what does it keep saying? Login ignored, wrong permissions, must be owned by root and have mode of 0600. Now, most valuable asset I have is the Dream Shell bootloader and this SD card reader. So we'll go and use those now. We're going to use the ISO loader. This way we can read from the SD card Dreamcast, and then we could load an SD card version of Quake 3 Arena. I'm really disappointed that I can't hear anything right now. I don't know why. Sound totally works. Oh, found my VMU. VMU found. Nice. We'll go over to the internet section. Everything appears to be entered as best as we can get. Let's get some stuff going here. No, not that one. Close no dial tone. That one's going to require me plugging in the other line. Light yellow cable is actually somewhat connected to my actual solution for my phone line. Got signal 1. I'm actually about to get online. Got signal 1. General failure. So close. And yet, so far, the reason Quake 3 will fail is because it doesn't have a dial tone. It needs a dial tone to connect. Oh god. We're so close. It can't. No way. Initializing PAM. I think I finally got it. It's still configuring though. But there's progress. Local IP, remote IP. Shit. It might fail because we don't have a port forward. Oh god. Whoa! What? No way. It's actually... What the fuck? Like, if I was getting that much information out of freaking chu-chu rocket, I could have been able to connect this a long time ago. Oh, is that it? Does chu-chu rocket require it? No response from master server. Oh no. This could actually fail because it doesn't have connection to a server. Because I think what it is that there are people locally hosting these servers from like their own homes, and sometimes those servers are offline. If I have like an IP address I could connect to, could I... Or maybe there's something I'm missing here? Server master list from the Quake 3. Oh no, are you kidding me? Okay. Well, if I'm this far, maybe I can input it? Oh, that's gonna be annoying though. I can. Can I do it? 2796. Oh, God. Oh, it's there. Fight. I don't actually know what's happening right now because I decided I was going to capture it. Oh my god! Okay, well... admittedly, not the best experience. In fact, if if we're like perfectly honest, uh, this is actually terrible. What is happening? I have no idea what's happening. Bitterman was kicked. I'm probably gonna get kicked. But yeah, I think I got kicked. No? Oh boy. Oh, there's Sarge. I guess we have a bot in here as well. I'm probably at risk of breaking somebody's actual, like, Dreamcast server, so I'm just going to assume that that's about as good as I can even possibly get with this. And I'm just gonna disconnect before I lose my mind trying to get this to work. Alright. And stop the capture. So at the end of the day, what did we learn? Well, we learned that, yes, it is in fact completely possible to get your Dreamcast online in 2018 using an old school method of connecting, along with a lot of fighting with the hardware. Some software and a couple of different tweaks. Eventually we'll get it to work. However, the actual amount of value in doing such a thing is probably the most questionable. Ambitious as it is to try and use one of these old school methods and save yourself a couple bucks. The honest to goodness reality of the scenario is that you're at risk of fighting yourself more than anything. Can I get one kill, please? No, I can't. In reality, you are much better off just buying yourself a USB type modem, or even better, buying yourself the Dream Pi and the solution to use that thing. You get the Dream Pi, you have the USB modem, possibly a line voltage simulator as well. You just put in an SD card containing a Dream Pi image, you plug it in, and you get connected. And if you want to, you can even do Wi-Fi with that, and you'll never have to have an external box dedicated to the sole process of trying to connect your Dreamcast online to the internet, running fucking Windows XP and some virtualized version of Linux just to get connected. And in the end, when the Dream Pi becomes less of an amusement and more of a novelty item, what you could do instead is turn the Raspberry Pi into a utility that you can use for something else. You can use a you can use a Raspberry Pi for a lot of different things. You probably could even use something that's kind of like a Raspberry Pi, but isn't the Raspberry Pi. I think there's the Rock board. Damn it. The Rock board's a pretty solid utility in and of itself. And for as much luck as we had we got Google to load, and we eventually got onto a Quake 3 server. That's cool. It didn't work well at all, but we got on, and right now I'm just enjoying good old Quake 3 while I talk over this topic, because this is otherwise a very boring gameplay. A very horrendous gameplay at that. There are much better people playing this game than I am. So, in conclusion, the DC PC server was a combination of enjoyable, painstaking, aggravating, time-consuming. I spent like a week on this entire project studying and figuring out exactly what I had to do to pull this off, and then I spent 2 days just trying to get the thing to work. Whereas, about 40 to 50 bucks in the end for a Raspberry Pi, USB modem, an SD card to run the thing, line voltage thing, not even a case, 50 bucks, maybe 60 if you're going for a case. It's all silly. It's just 50 bucks can save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. I will not be getting any of the time back I spent trying to get this thing to work. And I spent a lot of time getting it to work. I could have been, studying for bigger and better things. I could have been doubling down on how I program stuff. I could have probably even within enough time figured out how to program everything myself and just done it myself. But that's kind of ambitious, and somebody else already did it for me about a decade ago when they tried this in the first place. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. My name has been Justin. This has been Ultimate Extreme Video. I hope you all keep living that all-tech dream. I thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a great day and night cycle. And please, just get a Dream Pi. Just set that thing up. Save yourself the hassle.